What's up, gente? What's up, Raza? I want to talk about the earthquake in Venezuela. The earthquake that occurred a couple days ago. Yeah, I think it's June 29th. It was a 7.2 and then a 7.5 earthquake back to back. That's serious. That's a serious earth shaking. It made a mess. It's serious and back to back to top it off. One of the reasons I want to talk about this because just like poor countries in the Western Hemisphere in Latin America, poor countries including Mexico and Cuba, for exact, I always go back to Cuba. Just like when poor countries go through a natural disaster like this, we see what they do when they are a strong people, regardless of how poor they are. And Cuba is one of those examples where the people, when I was there a few times, and even before I went there, and when Katrina hit, I think it was 2006, W. Bush was president. Um, America lost all these people drowned. Americans drowned in the streets of Louisiana, Florida, places like that, right? People died. All this ruin occurred. In Cuba, not a single cow died, not a person died because they had a system that was set up. And from the poorest to the richest to the most important person to the farmers and the peasants, they didn't care. They have a system where they unite, they get together, and they mobilize. It's called mobilization, and they moved everybody to higher land. And later on, when I visited in 2016, we visited one of the army bases where their engineers were explaining this to us and how nobody died, not even cows were injured, right? That's fascinating because those are countries that are poor. They're not supposed to survive that. Well, Venezuela is one of those countries that, even though they're not poor with resources, because they do have oil that the United States has been stolen since they kidnapped the president Maduro in January. The United States is stealing from them as we speak. There's no reason that the people of Venezuela should be suffering right now. There's no reason the people of Venezuela should be struggling right now, and yet they are. They are because when the United States went in there and did what they did, they disrupted their system. I know for a fact because I met the ambassador when I was in Cuba at the time, and they explained to us how their system works, which is very similar to a lot of Latin American countries, especially those poor countries, where people unite under the spirit of revolution, under the spirit of nationalism, under the spirit of community and socialism. They will unite to save their people, help their people. And as we speak, 2,995 people have died. June 3rd, 2023. I'm sorry, July 3rd. That's what the number is, 2,975. That's a lot of people, almost 3,000 people. As we speak, there's people who still haven't been found, 11,000. And this is a shame because this could have been prevented. This is the kind of damage that Western powers, including the United States, especially the United States, this is what the damage they cause when they go and disrupt people's governments, the flow of their government, the way they're doing their day to day, right? Instead, they kidnap the president, they disrupt the government, and now people are missing. They should not be in those situations, yet they are. I'm really upset at this. I've been thinking about it for the last couple of days, how to do this, and I really want to make sure that I got my facts right there on the dates and the deaths and the magnitude of the earthquake because it was big, but they had a system to go about. That system is missing now, especially after the U.S. went in there and kidnapped Maduro and installed, or at least has this puppet government. A lot of people believe, whether that's true or not, that's not the point. Desi Rodriguez, that's not the point. The point is the people had a system, and we can still do something about it. Unfortunately, the United States is standing in the way, has destroyers, Navy ships, soldiers ready to go, but not to support the people, rather to prevent anybody from going in and out. They're making sure that they colonize this country and they have to drive it to the ground. This right now, there's a lot of capitalists sitting in Washington. There's a lot of right wingers and Democrats, Republicans and Democrats together celebrating this tragedy because what it means is that they're going to be able to go in and do what the Clinton administration once said that you cannot let um, a disaster or something bad go to waste. It's an opportunity to do something right. And later on with George W. Bush days, the policy was to capitalize on catastrophes, right? Capitalize, that means cash in on a catastrophe. So here the people are missing. Here the people are going to need help, and that's exactly what some of these Democrats, Republicans, politicians are cheering on, because now they get to cash in, and they're going to hide behind the American flag and say, "Yeah, we're doing the humanitarian thing. We're providing liberation and freedom for the people." But they're not. They're only enslaving them further, because not only did they disrupt the government, kidnap their president, stealing their oil, they're also allowing people to die. And there's another point that I'm going to bring up before I end this today, because I think it's important that people know what truly is going on with Latin America, especially under the current President Trump, right? ICE had deported people. ICE had deported people to Venezuela during that time. And I believe it was in the hundreds, if not thousands. And this includes children. What has happened to those children? A lot of people are saying they're missing. And this is not new. This has happened under every president. Children come up missing. We still don't know. The FBI, believe it or not, they don't keep statistics of missing people. That's wild. But this is true. But under ICE, in this specific time, to be missing children in Venezuela, we need to keep an eye on Venezuela. We need to keep an eye on all of Latin America. We know that they just stole an election in Colombia. Trump and his right wing alliance of politicians down there. They basically stole the election from the left wing candidate. So now they're running Colombia from a right wing perspective, or will be. You've got other countries, including that prison country right there, where they got that young dictator that Trump loves, and then you got this guy in Argentina, the mini Trump, and Chile, and places like that. These countries have right wing governments that Trump and the U.S. is loving. They're loving them. So we need to keep an eye on Latin America. But those are our people. We are Chicanos. We are raza. Whether you're Chicano, Mexican, doesn't matter. We do not recognize these borders. We are indigenous from North America down to the tip of Argentina, and we are all indigenous people. We need to keep an eye on these countries, but especially the poor countries, those that are at risk. Venezuela is one of them. They need help. I know last week we were helping out in the cause for Venezuela, and that was something we did privately. But if you all do help out, if you all can help out, help out. Look for legitimate groups that are doing work. There was a lot of scams, like always. People try to cash in on on these tragedies. So we need to make sure we take care of those poor countries by making sure that their story stays alive. So at this point, sadly, Venezuela is still a mess. People are still under those buildings. They're still finding people, by the way, alive. A miracle, it's a miracle, but they're finding them alive. Not all. There's a lot of people who are not alive, and that's the sad bottom line of what's going down in Venezuela. Um, I wanted to bring this to your attention today. I want you all to know that on this 4th of July, there's nothing to be, I would say, proud of, nothing to celebrate. What the takeover of a poor country, of a country the U.S. calls a rogue state, and accuses their leader of being involved as a drug dealer. That's what they did with Maduro. That wasn't even the case. Maduro, at least Maduro, the president of Venezuela, who was kidnapped in January, had plans. They had ways to do this. They had ways to go about and help the people and mobilize the people. They had systems to go about doing this. Other countries have similar. Mexico does too. A lot of poor countries do. We can't just kick on them, piss on them, laugh at them, and make fun of them, and in Donald Trump's words, call them shithole countries, right? Because that's his opinion of these poor countries. We can't just do that because they're not us, because they don't speak English, because they have dark skin and they're black or brown and they speak Spanish. No, we cannot do that. We got to be better than that. Whether you like socialism or not, socialism does work. And when socialism is operating, that's great. But when you got a corrupt government, like here in the United States, it doesn't matter if you got capitalism or socialism. In this case, in a corrupt government, authoritarian government like Donald Trump, who says no and is allowing people to die as we speak in Venezuela, because they could be doing more. Marco Rubio doesn't care. All they care about is trying to win this war and gaslight people about this war in Iran. All they care about is supposedly celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States in this empty mall. Nobody's even attending those stupid concerts they're having. Dumb Vanilla Ice, stupid white boy, canceled, right before he was supposed to go on because there was nobody there, right? It's a clown show over there. They're gaslighting us, trying to take our attention off of that, along with the World Cup and all that. But we got to keep our eye on and keep helping out those poor countries, people. Uh, we are fortunate. Let's be that voice. Let's try to help out not just Venezuela, but any other country that needs it. But especially after what happened to Maduro in January, we need to be there for Venezuela. Okay. With that, I'm out. Que viva la raza, or power to the people. Aho.